It's often said that death reveals the truth about love, and sometimes it exposes wounds we never knew existed. Because just days after the shocking death of celebrated gospel singer Bayo, Kenya has found itself entangled in a heartbreaking debate, not about her music, not even about her legacy, but about her children, Sky Victor and little Danny. Two innocent faces now at the center of a storm no child should ever have to endure. Bayo, the woman who once turned pain into praise, died on Monday, November 10th after a silent but tough battle with leukemia. Her death sent shockwaves across the gospel world, her name trending for days as fans, friends and fellow artists struggled to accept that one of gospel's most powerful voices had gone silent. But as tributes poured in, a new narrative began to unfold. At her husband Iram Gitau's home, the man many knew as Tosh, close friends of the late singer, spoke with emotion, promising to take care of her children, to protect them and ensure that they never lack anything. It sounded noble, heartfelt and comforting until social media did what social media does best. It turned sympathy into controversy. Because watching from a distance was Pastor Victor Kanyari, the biological father of Betty's two children. And when he saw people already talking about dividing his children, something in him snapped. In now a viral video, Kanyari, who was visibly angry and heartbroken, accused some people of starting to share out his kids while he, their father, was still alive. Wameanza kugawana watoto, he said bitterly, shaking his head. That clip alone ignited a nationwide storm. Some said Kanyari was right, that the biological father should naturally assume custody now that their mother is gone. Others felt Iram, the husband who raised those children as his own, deserved recognition too, because love isn't always defined by blood, but by presence. And so, just days before Betty's burial in Kiambu County, our family finds itself trapped in public scrutiny, caught between two men, two homes, and two versions of love. But before all this chaos, before the headlines and the arguments, there was one final night that broke every heart close to Betty. According to a longtime friend and fellow gospel singer Shirwa GP, the night Betty's condition worsened was nothing short of tragic. She recalls how Betty suddenly began bleeding from the head, collapsing near the stairs of her home. The house help and neighbors rushed to help as panic filled the air. The once strong and cheerful mother of two lay helpless, her children watching in disbelief. And perhaps the most heartbreaking part, her children saw the blood. Shirwa GP revealed that Sky and Danny were terrified, crying uncontrollably, thinking their mother had been attacked. When the ambulance arrived, the two knelt beside it, praying out loud for their mother's life, innocent prayers that echoed through the night, prayers that, sadly, heaven did not answer the way they hoped. By morning, the gospel world would lose one of its brightest voices. For her husband Iram Gitau Tosh, the pain has been unimaginable. Speaking during the memorial mass, Tosh described Betty as the love of his life, a woman who gave his world meaning. He thanked Kenyans for their prayers, calling the people gathered as family, and in his most emotional moment, he introduced Sky and Danny as my kids. He reminded mourners that even in her absence, the home he built with Betty would always remain a home for the children. His calm tone and unwavering composure painted the image of a man still trying to stay strong, a man mourning privately, yet holding a public family together. But for Kanyari, the story carries a sting that cuts deeper. In a live video on TikTok, The controversial pastor confessed that he only found out about Betty's illness after she had already died. He said, and I quote, "It pained me to learn that my baby mama was sick and no one told me. If I knew, I would have fought night and day to save her." End of quote. It's a confession layered with regret and perhaps guilt. Because in those words, Kanyari was not just expressing shock. He was mourning not only the woman he once loved, but also the time he would never get back. Now, the conversation has shifted from mourning to questioning. Did Kanyari deserve to know earlier? Was he deliberately kept in dark? And who now has the moral right to raise Sky and Danny? The father who gave them life, or the man who shared their home in love and loss? The internet has been ruthless. Some users have accused Kanyari of using grief for attention, pointing to his history and how quickly he turned his pain into public statements. Others have come to his defense, saying this is a man whose love for his children should never be underestimated. Meanwhile, supporters of Tosh argue that he should be respected as the man who stood by Betty to the very end, the one who faced her sickness, carried her through the hospital nights, and was by her side when she breathed her last. But lost in all these arguments are the children themselves, the real victims of this unfolding tragedy. For Sky, this has been particularly hard. She was not just Betty's daughter. She was her best friend, her mirror, and her confidante. Videos have resurfaced online showing just how deep that bond was. In one emotional clip, Betty is seen lovingly telling Sky, "I taught you God." Those words now echo painfully, a mother reminding her child to never lose faith even when life becomes cruel. Sky had even managed to bring both her stepdad and a biological father together once in a light-hearted YouTube video she posted on her channel, a moment that had warmed many hearts online. It was a sign of peace, proof that blended families could coexist, and yet now, that peace seems to have been buried under the weight of grief and misunderstanding. As the nation prepares for Betty's final send-off in Kiambu next week, the story has turned into something larger than just family drama. It has become a mirror reflecting the reality of many Kenyan homes where love, divorce, step-parenting, and faith intersect in the most complicated ways. Because Betty Bayo's story is not just about fame, it's about forgiveness. She forgave a man who once broke her, loved her again without fear, and raised children in peace despite her past. Her death, therefore, feels like an unfinished song, one that leaves us wondering whether those she left behind will sing in harmony or turn her memory into a battlefield. And as the lights dim on her final chapter, one truth stands out. In this tug of war between fathers and fame, the only people who truly matter are Sky and Danny, two young souls who have already seen too much, lost too much, and now must somehow find strength in the very faith their mother taught them. Maybe the real question isn't who gets custody. Maybe it's who will protect their peace, who will guide them through the storm, keep their mother's memory alive, and remind them that even though the world can be cruel, love is still sacred. Because when the cameras go off and the comments fade away, what remains are two children holding on to the last gift their mother left behind, her faith, her love, and her songs. This is not just the story of Betty Bayo's death. It's the story of what happens when love collides with loss, when faith is tested by grief, and when family becomes a battlefield of emotions. May our soul rest in peace, and may our children find strength in the love she built around them. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. My name is The Commentator. juu kwake Papa Francis, bwana nitafuta hamunipati. Bye bye.